Welcome to my channel. I'm Jonathan Glazier and I am a TV director. If you like what I say, you can subscribe and let's get on with it. I'm going to talk about Starstruck. Olly Murs, look away. Starstruck. Got an awful lot of bad press and comments on social media. Some of them I think were unfounded. The Guardian did a review which was particularly vitriolic. Not surprising really. I don't really think it's meant for Guardian viewers. So let's put that one to bed straight away. Was it any good? Well, I don't know why you take the worst elements of The Voice and put it into a whole show and build a show around it and call it Starstruck. And the element I'm talking about is having teams. One of the things about having teams and voting teams through is if you have a really good singer on a weak team, they get eliminated. So that's not fair, is it? Somebody who's really good is with two weak singers and they just happen to get eliminated because they're in a weak team. That's always been the problem with the battles on The Voice, I think. So, but that aside, was it entertaining? I sat and watched it with my girls, twins, 15 years old, and they quite enjoyed it. Freddy Mercury was great. He was, there were three of them, very different characters, and I have to say the guy who actually eventually went on to win was really good. And he was the first person who opened his mouth singing on this particular series. He was really good. I should say that Starstruck is hosted by Olly Murs, and the judging panel is Adam Lambert, Sheridan Smith, Beverly Knight and Jason Manford. Jason Manford is mainly known as a comedian, but he's also a West End singer. Beverly Knight needs no introduction. I've worked with her a couple of times. Sheridan Smith, again, got some very unwarranted comments on social media about the number of times she's on the television at the moment, and I'm sure that's just coincidence. She's in two excellent dramas, No Return and The Teacher, both of which I've watched or watching No Return at the moment, and now this. And Sheridan is one of our great actresses, and she's also a pretty good singer, as you all know. And Adam Lambert needs no introduction at all. A superstar in the making. He's brilliant. So they've all got a reason to be there, but they're all a little bit chipper, which is a New Zealand expression for meaning they're all a bit, and you kind of wow and all the rest of it, which really comes from The Mask, I think. You never used to get that on Got Talent. You know, there'd be people enjoying themselves and they'd laugh at the jokes. But here, I distinctly get the feeling that they're sort of performing for the camera. And I don't like that. It doesn't feel particularly natural. And I know it's very difficult because we're in a studio. This was shot during COVID. And clearly the only people in the audience are the friends and family of the people performing. So the set's very nice. There are some little booths in the upper region of the studio, and there's people bopping around. So it must be pretty weird doing these sorts of entertainment shows in a studio that's devoid of atmosphere because it hasn't got an audience. You don't notice it at home because the soundtrack's actually very good and the added audience effects. There is a large virtual audience, although we don't see them until the voting. And basically the vote is on the team. The team that goes through is down to the judges. The people within that team are voted for by the virtual audience, and the winner is declared. So you might say, oh yeah, but the best singer gets through, but he doesn't, because if there's a good singer in one of the other teams, they've already been eliminated by virtue often of the fact they're not with a good team. And I don't like that. I don't think it's fair. It's an entertaining show. It's an enjoyable show. The transformations are quite cute. The judges need to be a little more honest. And I know we're not into that kind of area where we bash people, but Lady Gaga was a little bit substandard, or a couple of them were, and they weren't kind of good impressions. The whole thing about these shows, and I used to direct Stars in the Rise, is that you shut your eyes and you can imagine it's the actual person singing. Certainly the winner as a Freddy was like that. The other thing that I'm not really going to comment on, although it's the way it looked to me, it looked like they were miming to themselves singing, and I'm happily here to be stood corrected on that. But nonetheless, that's what it looked like a little bit, because often they put their famous counterparts to shame because they are singing live and not to track. But there we go. I'm sure somebody who worked on the production can put me right about that. So that was it, Starstruck. Will I be watching it again? Will I be glued to it? Possibly not. Ratings-wise, it did really quite well. Why wouldn't it? It inherited the Masked Singer's audience, which was on before it. So it started off with really very, very good ratings. However, I think worryingly, those ratings declined as the show went on. And it ended up a little bit under what Ant and Dec were doing with their new Limitless game show. So there we have it, The Masked Singer. Normally I do these reviews as little 1-minute reviews on my daily boot up, but I've chosen to do this one as a slightly longer review. It's very much my area of television, and I think it warranted a longer review, and I'll be doing more of these longer reviews as time goes on. Probably 5 or 6 out of 10 from me. Doesn't deserve the huge slating it got from the critics. The singing was in general pretty good. Marvin Gaye was good. I enjoyed that. Freddie Mercury was great. Lady Gaga let it down a little bit, I thought. But there we are. And sadly, I can't even remember who the fourth team was, which is kind of telling in itself, because it maybe wasn't that memorable. But hey-ho, I'll put a caption up once I've looked up who the fourth team was. Perhaps there weren't even 4 teams. Oh dear. All right. If you like what I've had to say and you want to see more, do click on the link and subscribe to my channel. I'm Jonathan Glazier, TV director. Goodbye.